Welcome to this recording from the Legal Aid Agency's Contract Management and Assurance team on an introduction to the submittable claim system, crime category fee codes. Today we will walk you through some of the changes relating to crime billing and how this will affect you. We hope that by the end of this session you'll have a good understanding of the following areas. Firstly, why the submittable claim or SaBC system requires a single fee code to enable the pricing of claims. We will also cover how the new fee codes map across to existing or previous claim codes, and also when each fee code should be used. We will also make reference to the recent fee uplift affecting crime matters opened on or after the 22nd of December 2025. As this is a brand new system, work will continue at pace after its launch to build on and improve the functionality moving forward. Now for some background. Unfortunately, whilst we've been able to restore many of our IT systems following the cyber attack, we are unable to safely restore our CWA system. This was the system that you would have used to report your crime or legal help or mediation monthly billing previously. So we are taking the step to replace that system with a new service called Submit a Bulk Claim. This service will be launched in early 2026, and the focus of it will be to ensure that we can allow you to submit and price your claims, and also that this information will then feed through to your monthly payments, taking us away from the monthly contingency process that has been in place since May 2025. Due to the need to deliver a working service as quickly as possible, we've limited the scope of this new system to only support the submission and pricing of claims. Other functionality will follow in due course, but upon launch, monthly billing will be the key focus of its use. So for instance, whilst CWA also had information on the contract schedules and allowed for the execution of contracts, this function will sit outside of Submit a Bulk Claim, and we are developing a separate service to be able to deal with that functionality. So Submit a Bulk Claim will focus solely on the monthly billing process for the time being. So moving on to some of the details of the changes for providers. Claims will now need to be submitted via a revised bulk load spreadsheet or via updated export files directly from your firm's case management system. Providers will no longer have the ability to directly input a claim line by line into the system. Each claim will need to include a new single fee code if it is to be accepted by the new service. Providers will need to include this not only for claims that are opened once the system has been launched, but also for any claim that would have been due during the recent portal outage period. So this will include those claims that have been subjected to contingency payments since May 2025. We have been working closely with software vendors who are updating their systems to accommodate and enable the new fee codes to be used. Most vendors have confirmed that their case management systems should auto-generate the codes in claim exports into the Submit a Bulk Claim system. Therefore, firms shouldn't need to manually add the new codes in. If you haven't already touched base with your firm's software vendor, now would be a good time to check in just to make sure that your firm's case management system has been updated to reflect these changes. Why have we introduced single fee codes? The reason we've had to introduce the concept of a single fee code is due to the level of complexity that existed in the old CWA system, particularly around the pricing of claims in different categories within CWA. Previously, pricing triggers varied based on a number of factors. For example, for magistrates' court claims, those could vary depending on billing elements such as the stage reached code, the profit cost figure reported, the rep order date, etc., etc. The complexity of that pricing system isn't something that could be replicated in the time required to deliver this new IT service, and so a new uniform way of triggering the pricing was needed. And that will be the single fee code. So this code will determine which fee or fee scheme the claim is payable under, and the system will then add on any further amounts due to the provider in that particular instance, for example disbursements. The full list of fee codes, the bulk load spreadsheet itself, and any supporting guidance is available on the Gov website, which is accessible either via the links in this slide towards the bottom, or by searching for Legal Aid SaBC in your search engine. What does that mean for crime billing? Well, the single fee codes have, where possible, been mapped against a pre-existing code that providers would be used to reporting under the old system. So cases that are paid as either hourly rates or a set fixed fee amount will keep the same claim codes as before. So for example, police station claims will still use the INVC code, and court duty claims will still use the PROD code. However, cases that have a variable fixed fee pricing, such as magistrates' court claims or London weighted fees, will now have a number of variants of the previous code to match each possible fee. For example, a magistrates' court lower standard fee, which would have been a PROE code previously, will now have 3 fee code variants, and these 3 variants will match the 3 pricing options that depended on the category of the proceedings. So a PROE claim would previously have had the option to be a category 1A, a category 1B, or a category 2 fee. So under the new system, there will be a choice of 3 fee codes, a PROE1, a PROE2, and a PROE3, depending on that category of the proceedings, and it will be that fee code solely that will determine the pricing of the case when it is reported. Another example of the fee code variants is with police station telephone advice claims, which were previously billed using the INVB claim code. These claims will now have 2 fee code variants to correspond to either the London or non-London based fee amounts. So there will be an INVB1 code for London claims or INVB2 for non-London police station telephone advice claims. One other thing to note with both this INVB example and the previous PROE example is that it will no longer be necessary to report the fixed fee amount as your profit costs when billing those claims. But we'll come to that in a bit more detail in a later slide. Touching on prison law claims, the majority of those cases can either be lower or higher standard fee, depending on the costs involved. So, moving forward, those prison law claim codes will be split into 2 variants. For example, the PRIB claims will now have a 1 or a 2 variant, depending on the costs being claimed. As a result of introducing these fee code variants, the total number of claim codes have increased, with crime lower investigations or proceedings reporting rising from 26 to 64 claim code options, and prison law codes rising from 5 to 9 options. We will move on to give a bit more detail around these fee code variants in the next 2 slides. Both this slide and the next slide contain a bit more detail around the mapping of the new crime fee codes. The fee codes themselves and the new variants are listed in the table here. Fee codes that aren't listed are those that won't be changing under the new system. For example, the INVC police station claims or PROD court duty claims as mentioned on a previous slide. As for the table itself, you'll see the left-hand side contains the previous claim codes used for crime billing. The right-hand side of the table lists the corresponding new single fee codes and the variants. Looking at the top row of the table, you'll see the example we've already covered around police station telephone advice billing. The previous claim code for those matters would have been INVB, and under the new system will be 2 variants, INVB1, INVB2, depending on whether the matter was London or non-London based. The next row down lists the 4 Mags Court standard fee claim codes. The four codes would be dependent on whether the matter was a higher or lower standard fee, and whether the matter is based in a designated or undesignated area court. Under the new system, each of those four claim codes will have three variants, depending on whether the matter was a Category 1A, Category 1B, or a Category 2 standard fee claim. PROJ are deferred sentence claim codes. Moving forward under the new system, there will be 8 different variants for that claim code, as there are a variety of different fee options, depending on whether the matter is higher or lower standard fee, Category 1A or Category 1B proceeding type, or based in a designated or undesignated area. The PROH claim code relates to advocacy assistance in the Crown Court, and these fee variants are slightly different in that they were introduced as part of the fee increases brought about in December 2025. Those fee increases increased the hourly rate payable for these types of cases in the Magistrates' Court for solicitors conducting them. However, the rates payable to advocates conducting these matters remained the same. As a result, there needed to be 2 different variants to reflect that. Those will be PROH1 or a PROH2. Similarly, on the second page of that table, you'll see some more examples of original claim codes on the left and corresponding fee variants on the right. Pre-order cover is similar to the INVBs in that there was 1 claim code originally. There will be 2 variants for that moving forward depending on the location of the matter. PROV claims relate to the old antisocial behaviour injunction matters. There will be 4 variants for that moving forward, again based on the different fee combinations available. Youth court claims are very similar to the Magistrates' Court claims. The left-hand side lists the codes that were used before. The right-hand side explains that there will be 4 different variants of each of those codes moving forward, depending on whether the youth court matter is a Category 1A, 1B, 2A or 2B standard fee claim. And the bottom row of that table contains the prison law standard fees. Again, 4 original claim types on the left, and then moving forward there will be 2 variants of each of those 4 types based on whether the matter is a lower or a higher claim type. So you can see in a nutshell that each of the original claim codes will have a different number of variants on the right hand side. So the key thing in terms of billing will be to report the claim code as before, but with the correct variant number at the end of the code. Moving on to give some context around some of the changes being introduced under crime billing. The first thing to mention is that as a result of the new fee codes, it will no longer be necessary for firms to report the fixed fee amounts as profit costs for Magistrates' Court standard fee cases. Instead, firms should now report actual profit costs for these cases where your case management systems allow. One thing to note is for claim code types INVB and PROW, neither of those claim code types actually have hourly rates. Therefore, the fixed fee amount can still be reported as the profit costs in those claim types. Secondly, police station INVC claiming will continue as before, with the submittable claim system validating the correct fee based on the police station ID code reported. However, it should be noted that as part of the fee changes introduced on the 22nd of December 2025, the previous regional police station fees have now been harmonised to a single fee. Lastly, there are 2 previous claim codes that have now been removed on the basis that they were not used. Those are the PROC and PROI claim codes. We've made reference on previous slides of the recently uplifted crime fees. This slide is to give a bit more detail around that particular change. For background, on the 1st of December, the government introduced a statutory instrument which uplifted all claimable rates for crime lower work. This change came into effect for cases beginning on or after the 22nd of December 2025. The new fees will not affect the relevant claim codes to be reported. However, the new system will use the information being reported by yourselves to generate the correct relevant standard fee amount. For fixed fee cases, the Submit a Bulk Claim system will have inbuilt validation between the fee code reported and either the UFN for investigations class cases or rep order date for proceedings class cases to ensure that the correct fee regime will be applied. The UFN or rep order date will be used by the SaBC system to determine when the case started and therefore which fee regime to apply. It is therefore crucial to ensure that the UFNs allocated and reported and the rep order dates are accurate and reflective of the case start date. For hourly rates matters, firms should continue to report the total costs using the correct rates. As mentioned on a previous slide, we suggest that providers will engage, if you haven't already, with software vendors just to ensure that the case management system information correctly reflects those increased rates to both fees and hourly rates. So what if you have any queries or require any technical support in relation to using the new system? This slide lists the various ways that the LAA will provide help and support to firms in using the new system once it's introduced and moving forwards. If firms do need any assistance or have any queries as to the application of the single fee codes or which codes to use when reporting claims, these should be directed to your LAA contract manager in the first instance or the LAA customer services team using the usual contact methods. Where you're unable to answer a query using that route or the available published guidance, it can also be forwarded to the dedicated Submit a Bulk Claim Queries email address listed there on this slide. Representatives from our contract management, digital and service development teams will triage those emails and respond where needed, and also will update the guidance or frequently asked questions accordingly. For technical issues with the system, for example, any error messages you may receive when trying to access it, or issues in uploading files, these should be directed to our online support team in the first instance. Our online support team can be contacted via the usual telephone number, which is 0300 200 20 20, and select the option for online support. All published guidance and communications relating to the new system can be found on our dedicated Submit a Bulk Claim website. As we reach the end of this presentation, let's summarise and cover the top 4 things to remember when using the new system. Firstly, use the correct fee code for pricing and validation. Most of these map directly to or a variant of the previous stage reach codes used. The actual profit costs should now be reported for all crime claims instead of reporting the fixed fee amount in the profit costs field where possible. Thirdly, please ensure that the UFN and rep order date is reported accurately to ensure the correct payment rates are applied in light of those increases brought in towards the end of December 25. And lastly, if you haven't already done so, please check in with your firm's software provider to make sure your case management system incorporates both the new fees and the December 25 fee increases. Lastly, this slide contains a number of direct links to various guidance that should assist in crime billing once the new system has been reintroduced. Thank you very much for your time.